So this weekend, the highly anticipated Venom came out. Now, Venom's been under a lot of controversy recently because, well, as everyone knows, it's not a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And most fans saw it as just a cheap cash grab by Sony, but on my way out, I got a free poster, so how bad can it be? But off that same note, I wanted this film very hesitant because it's like, by now you know Venom did not get really good reviews by just about anyone. It has, I think, right now sitting at a 31% Rotten rating on Rotten Tomatoes, so I went this with like expectations on the floor. I thought it was going to be one of the worst films of the year. And for anyone who saw the first trailer, that really wasn't surprising. It's just, nothing about this film led me to believe it was going to be good. And I was beyond shocked that it actually turned out being good. Now, don't let that fool you. Venom, it's a good movie, but it was only surprised because it wasn't awful. That does not mean it's great. So let's just jump into it. First, I'm going to talk about characters. Obviously, Tom Hardy, he's the lead. They plaster him all over this thing. He's on the poster. His name's bigger than the actual title. And he does a great job, he really does. He gives an electrifying performance. He's charismatic, he's funny, he's emotional when he needed to be. He's a great rock for everyone in the audience to relate to. He helps put people watching this movie in the movie, and I honestly forgave a lot of the mistakes, or at least I could ignore them while watching the movie, because just how well a job Tom Hardy did. And probably my favorite aspect of the film was Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy's character, his relationship with the Venom symbiote. Their back and forth, their development, and the end result of what their relationship became, it was honestly just brilliant. I was totally engrossed in it. As a person watching the film, I totally got behind it, and obviously from how everyone was reacting, laughing, and whatnot, I could tell the audience in general was into it. So I think the director, the writer, and obviously the actors, they really did hit a bullseye with that one, to where I think audiences will want to see more of that. The supporting cast, they did a fine job. It's like I was saying earlier, they were okay. They weren't great or bad, but in the end, they weren't really that memorable. They were, I wouldn't say forgettable, but at the same time, I wasn't impressed by anyone. His love interest, side character, she was good, but at the end of the day, I wasn't interested in her. The villain, I was very surprised by the antagonist. Most people forget that a great antagonist does not think what he's doing is wrong. That's why the villains in Logan are so good, or the antagonists in Logan are so good, because the truly great counterparts to our heroes usually think what they are doing is right. That's what makes them the best kind, because that's just reality. And I loved how the truly great counterparts to our heroes usually think what they are doing is right. That's what makes them the best kind, because that's just reality. And I loved how Riz Ahmed, his villain, was he thought what he was doing was for the betterment of mankind, and it created for some actually really good moments for an antagonist, very interesting character. And I think that the finale is somewhat underwhelming for him and the movie, but at the same time, I want to give credit to both the director and writer for creating a villain who very much surprised me in how well he was done. For everyone else, the the bad guys, henchmen, or whatever, other supporting characters, I liked the love interest. They were just, here and gone. None of them very interesting. They were well done, decent, but nothing worth talking about. Now let's talk about the plot. And it's a love it, hate it kind of thing, because at the same time, to put it bluntly, I didn't like a lot of this film, and I loved a lot of this film. There were moments of clunky dialogue. The opening, what gets the movie into Venom itself, is somewhat overtly long and unneeded. But at the same time, I like that they developed Brock as a character, and they put you sort of in his life, and they made you care about his life falling apart. But at the same time, it really wasn't handled that well. It was somewhat cheesy and clunky. Again, decent, but not great, not bad, just kind of in that no man's land. And then from there, we got some really great moments with Venom. I really can't say anything else. I found myself, I didn't even realize it, with the biggest smile on my face during one scene, because I just loved seeing Venom go ham on these guys. But at that same time, I somewhat hated it, because this film is supposed to be R. Like, you could tell with some of the cuts from language and some of the fight scenes that they wanted to show Venom biting off a dude's head. They wanted to show him like tearing someone apart. They wanted to drop F-bombs, but they didn't. And they probably filmed that because Tom Hardy, a couple weeks, if you saw that, he revealed that his favorite 40 minutes of the film were cut out. And those 40 minutes was probably the R-rated cut. And it does show, because when there's a cheap, somewhat lazy edit of Venom biting someone's head off, or another symbiote biting someone's head off, and then they just cut away from it really quick and cut back, oh, he bit someone's head off, da-da-da. It looks really bad, because they're trying to keep it PG-13 in a movie that desperately doesn't need to be PG-13. But at the same time, those Venom scenes were amazing. Obviously, Eddie and Venom's relationship almost make you forget that, because it's just so fun to watch them interact. And just seeing Venom on the big screen just go insane on people, it was fun. The CGI is good. I like the atmosphere is darker. It very much feels like a Halloween movie. I love that they released it in October. It's an atmospheric thing. And you'll enjoy this movie, but overall what I have to say about Venom is it is not as bad as you would think it is, but it's not as good as it should have been. It's in that middle mark of just decent, to where I think this is a good movie to tide you over until maybe Halloween comes out. But I really hope that because it overperformed 80 million, you know, like 175 million global opening off of a very modest $100 million budget. This movie is very likely going to get a sequel, and it has an amazing end credit scene. Please stick around for the first one. So I really hope they improve in the sequel. There's so much room to improve on. I'm very happy that they didn't totally miss the mark with this one. And Tom Hardy stated in the sequel he wants to be hard R. And I think if they go with that approach, stick with what worked and improve on what didn't, I think this could definitely be a rival to the MCU, Sony's universe. But for right now, Venom, I would recommend it. It's a good bit of fun, but go in knowing it's not going to change anything. It's not the movie you wanted it to be, but it will be a good time. Now that's all for today. Tune in next time for, I believe, will be either Goosebumps 2 or the new Halloween movie.